This is Claudiu Murgan, the host of the Spiritually Inspire show. And my guest today is Estelle Arlaud. From an early age, Estelle had three deep attractions: cooking, the sea, and spirituality, always with a strong connection to nature. She grew up in two beautiful places, Saint-Tropez, France, and Saint-Martin, French Caribbean. At 19, Estelle had her own catering business and passed her scuba diving instructor certification. At 22, she left for Phuket, Thailand, where she spent 4 years working as a diving instructor and underwater model. She did cross the Atlantic Ocean twice in a 72-foot sailing boat and swam with the wild whales. Estelle spent 3 years in South India, mostly in a cave, meditating, and in a nearby village, making and teaching deejeridoo, which is an Australian music instrument. She also lived in Australia and Israel, where she discovered the Thorah and the Kabbalah. She is the author of the book The Mermaid Chef, How to Give the Party of Your Dreams. These days, she is the executive chef at the high-end golf course in Antigua. Hi, Estelle, and thank you for accepting my invitation.
Hi. So the golf course was in New York, and here in Anguilla, I work in a villa, in a very luxurious villa, one of the most expensive in the world, as we say. Hi, how are you, Claudiu?
You look great today.
Thank you. Yeah, better than yesterday, I'm sure.
And just to let our viewers know that we did a little of smudging before this interview, just to be sure that we are going to say the right words and we're going to invoke the positive energies for the show.
Exactly, yes. That's all we need, positivity.
Estelle, it seems to me that you're able to weave all your three callings, the cooking, the sea, the nature, and the spirituality equally in your life. How did the spiritual path evolve since your childhood or late teens?
Yeah, so from in my childhood, I was more into beauty and nature and compassion. And then in my early 20s, I started to have spontaneous visions that really, I didn't really know what to do with it. And started to see a ghost here and there, and just little things here and there happening. And when I was pregnant, I heard my baby talk to me. Like, I was living in India, and it was not a very clean place, and and in this little thing of India, this ray of light came in the shower. And I heard my baby, say, "Mommy, don't worry, everything will be great. I even come here to help you. Everything will be okay." And I was like, "All right, great," So things like this happen here and there. And then when I arrived in Israel, it was like I got hit by the Thorah. And so I lived for 5 years like a freak religious Jew in occupied territories and other places of Israel, and studied more. And then I found those Kabbalistic meditation that was really wonderful, because I wanted to do only Jewish thing at the time. And since now that I'm into shamanism, I have to say that it was really similar to shamanism. It's like you go on a journey, except you didn't use the drum. You just, do a little breathing before, just simple, backbone erect, and just go with start a story and then imagine the rest, and whatever you see, is your message, what you have to learn to grow and everything. So that was a good thing. And so there I started to see many angels, and after it worked so well that I would see them everywhere in ordinary life, and I kind of freak out a little bit because, like I went to the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem, and I was seeing like pigeons had to change their course of flying because angels were everywhere. It was like, okay, am I going crazy? And they had no message to tell me. I was just seeing them and no message. So I had not much people to talk to about, more like a crazy woman. So I asked them to stop, and they did stop. But after a few years, like, well, if you want to come back, it's fine. I'm okay now. So they did come back, but not like before, just once in a while for a special healing or something like that. And then after that, what happened? After that, um, for the first time, I joined a group. I will not mention the name, it's pretty well known. And it's about healing. And I got a very bad thyroid storm, physically and spiritually, a Kundalini syndrome, where I almost died. It was like unbelievable. And I refused to take any medicines. And thanks God, finally a friend of mine that's into healing called me. I was like having cries. I wanted to break everything, die. It was horrible. Mm-hmm. And especially for a positive person like me, it was really unknown. Like, and I'm sure there was teachings in that too. But so anyway, she came and she said, "My God, your spiritual cord is the size of your head." And she says, "I'm going to close it back." I say, "Well, not all the way, please." And I mean, in one session, she kind of fixed me to not have crises, and I just decided to change my life instead of following the doctor's idea that I went to see after 2 months. That was to have a surgery to take off the thyroid or stuff like this. I said, no. And I changed my life. I came back to the Caribbean where I grew up, and slowly people with my job, people started to give me chances, and slowly I grew to have the great job that I have now in that villa. And I recovered slowly, just took time with myself and do things that I like and relax and things like this. So I managed to. It was a big mind effort, because when the spiritual cord is so open, you cannot even pray, because you already have too much light coming. And it's like the Buddha getting enlightenment, except it goes wrong. So it's like short circuit. It's really, I don't wish this to no one.
Yes, your body can be burned out because of that vibration, increased vibration, if your body is not used to that.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, I managed to heal myself. And oh yes, and as I came here to Anguilla on I think it was maybe my 3rd evening here back in the Caribbean. Anguilla is the island just in front of St. Martin where I grew up. And suddenly I was laying on my terrace waiting for my boyfriend to get ready to go have dinner. And suddenly I heard a voice telling me, "We are the Taínos people. We used to live here. And Anguilla is a holy land." And then they say, "You see all the lights at night? Well, we used to have as many lights at night, and we used to be as many people as now, actually." And so they showed me how they were making the light. And I don't know the size, but it was like a bowl, like a bowl emptied with a little opening at the top. And they would put something inside, I don't know what, to fermentate, and then the gas that would go poof, they just light, and they had a flame. So the next morning I went into internet and I made some research. Anguilla was the holy land of the Caribbean, because that's where is the spiritual cord of all the Caribbean. It's a light point. And slowly, with more visions here and there, I found they led me to the cave where is the tree that is the spiritual light, what is connected, to the source. And then the vision started to be not so nice, because they showed me the destruction of it. And when the colon arrives, more than 500 years ago, and there was this woman that was tied on the tree, and that was actually raped to death. And there were more women hanged on the branches of the tree. And then later on, they also made a business because of the bats there. So with the slaves, and they came in the cave, destroyed all the stalactites, stalagmite, all the beauty, the outside beauty of the cave, and made this business. So that was like the visions were like. And then they said, "Okay, you're gonna help us." And by restoring the connection, because that light got kind of damaged because of all of that, and you're going to make a woman's circle. like, okay. And you know, I had no education much in spirituality. I mean, for sure, I've heard of Women's Circle, but so I found two American women to follow me in that adventure, and we went there. You know, I played some didgeridoo. We gave offerings. We held the tree. We verbally asked for the spiritual cord to be restored, and then we left. And the next day, I heard it worked. I'm like, okay, great, you know. So, and the next year they asked me to reconnect the people. And I was like, the people? How am I going to reconnect the people? You know, it's easier to work on spirit than on people sometimes. so I was like, okay, I wait for your guidance. And one day I was just drawn to go to the cave. So for that, I had to go down my house, arrive on the beach, and go into a little forest. We don't have much tree there, but there is a little forest, and there is a pond. And so as I walked at the edge of the pond, and then after we go up to the cave, at the edge there was on the floor, like for a ceremony, and there was like a dead turtle with all her skeletons. I mean, to the last piece of the tail, to the last little fingers, all was there. And next to it, there was like white feathers put like that. And I was like, wow, you know, I don't really believed in all of that. I did it, but without believing 100%. So I was like, well, maybe somebody else is having a ceremony. But, you know, now that I think about it, somehow the spirit managed to manifest it. I'm sure about it now. And as I walked there, suddenly I understood that it was not about the living people, but about the dead people, because there is no more shaman on the island since more than 500 years, and so many people has been murdered, everything. So there was many lost souls. And as I understood this, I just, you know, told everybody, hey, you're all dead, it's time to go up. And usually when you tell them they are dead, then they understand, and already they start to go up. So I just like pray, God, please take them in your arms, take them as close to you, to the light. So that was very good. And then after I opened the mermaid school, so I was very busy giving the dreams to others, which was great. And but I had no more visions. And then I was missing my visions for like 3 years, no more visions. And so I started to hear a voice, shamans, Amazon, Peru. I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to go because, you know, I knew that would involve ayahuasca. So I was like, okay, well, a bit scared, but, you know, let's do it. So I went. Okay, I forgot to mention one of my visions, because after the Taínos was free, then I lost my friend spirit that was guiding me. And that's when suddenly I met the butterfly man. So first I was like, no way a butterfly man exists, you know, and the butterfly people, what is that? I'm going crazy. And and one day I was walking not that far from the cave. There is a little cliff. I mean, Anguilla is a flat island that's slightly tilted to the north, so that makes little cliffs on the north side. And I was realizing that the island was producing crystals. So I was actually sitting on a huge boulder of it on a tiny path. And then I was like, well, if there is this big boulder, there must be others. It cannot be just one. And I've seen little crystals here and there. There must be more. And then I was kind of meditating on that. And then I looked on the ground, and boom, there was like one big like this on the ground. And I was like, oh yeah, great, wow. Yes. And so I was like, okay, I'm ready to go home. So now I'm going to get up and go pick it up. And I picked it up, so happy, like a treasure, you know. And then as soon as I left my first foot to leave, to go back home with my 2 dogs, suddenly the butterfly man reappeared. And he was, I mean, he didn't appear physically. It was in the audio. And he told me, keep looking. I mean, and I was not even answering to him because I was not believing in him. I was like answering to myself. I was like, well, I got a treasure, I don't think to look for more. I'm so happy already. And he said, yeah, keep looking, because in life, something like, I don't remember the exact word he said, but anyway, words are not that important with the spiritual realm, because, it's just a translation. But it was more like a surprise, a treasure, or something like this. Usually all happens by pair in life. So look for the second one. Go straight ahead. I'm like, okay. So now I'm like going closer to the cliff. There is no more path. It's like bushes everywhere. I'm like walking like this. And then at my feet, I see a small one. I said, no. He says, no. And then he says, on your right, under the bush. Okay, it's full of bushes everywhere. But there is a very neat little bush just on my right. And then I see just a little thing sticking out of the ground. And, it was like Excalibur. It's like the ground is dry here and hard. And I took it, and it came out of the ground just like that.
Flawlessly.
And here it is. It is actually
wow.
a
Beautiful.
a coral that has crystallized. It's like something so strange, so rare, I think, because when we see crystallized corals, it's not like this at all.
Beautiful.
So I guess that was my proof that the butterfly being existed. I took it as that. And so I went to the Amazon, and with the ayahuasca ceremonies, the two first one was just my reunions with the butterfly being, me being one of them. It was so beautiful, because we are like nature spirits. So we go, we were one with all the creature of the Amazon. It was like the most beautiful, beautiful visions I ever had.
Yes, you told us many stories about your experiences in the Amazon. And we'll go back to that, but I want to refer to the India phase of your life. What attracted you to India, and how did you spend your time there?
Well, if I tell you what attracted me to India, you would laugh, because nothing attracted me to go to India. I was actually living like a princess in Thailand, having the greatest life ever, all joy, happy and everything. And then we decided, I was living with a girlfriend that was a scuba diving instructor too. And we decided that we got tired of the paradise. So why don't we move, explore more of the world? And so first there was this man that built a steel junk, a South African man, and he was looking for a crew to go from Thailand through South Africa, going to all the amazing islands that are on the way. It was like the most amazing trip ever. So we decided, okay, yeah, we'll go with it, great. But it didn't work out. So we had already left our house. We were in this junk since a month and a half, going from harbor to harbor between Malaysia and Thailand, fixing the boat, looking for more crew. And then the time was the wind has changed, we couldn't go anymore. So we found ourselves with my friend in a traveling agency saying, Vietnam or India? Vietnam or India? Okay, India. That's how I went to India. There was no special plans.
What about the place you ended up at, like the cave and the village?
Yeah, that was like, India is such a powerful place that I got really open up, let's say, but not with any direction. And then also we were visiting India, having so much trouble with men that finally we decided to go to Goa to be amongst tourists, to be more protected, and to have a lot of fun with the music also there. And then suddenly we went for 3 days in two party buses to go in the caves of India to have a party. And I had my sister and stepfather and a few people of mine there. And I told them, after the 3 days, you're all going back to Goa, but I'm staying in Goa, in Hampi is the name. And I will meditate alone in a cave for 1 month. I mean, I had never meditated before. I didn't know what it was to live in a cave. I mean, Indian men, as we know, are annoying. But as soon as we arrived there, I met my man, and it was an Israeli man. And I mean, when I met him, I just saw a ball of light. It's the only time that I seen someone like that. And we just stayed together for that time. And he told me, you want to live in a cave alone and meditate? I mean, by the time you go get the wood to make your fire, you go to the river to get water, wash and everything. You go buy your fruits, but the monkey have stole everything. When are you going to meditate? I'm like, I don't know. He said, I have a cave. Come with me. I was like, oh, great. So the party didn't happen. We were all in this cave. It started to run. Everybody was miserable because those caves are not a hole in the ground that you are protected from the rain. They are just giant boulders on top, lines of giant boulders on top of each other. So you have a lot of holes for the rain to come. But I went outside. I said, okay, as soon as this rain stops, I'm going to look for another dry place like this one here, and I'm going to sleep. And I found it. Oh my God, the most beautiful, amazing place. And I lay down there and I slept until morning. And then when I woke up, my future new man, was there with a banana cake telling me, wow, you're here. You didn't live like everybody else. He said, as soon as the sunlight came, everybody ran away and said, no, I'm staying. And there we started to live in caves for a good solid 6 months at that time, from caves to caves. And one time I told him, let's just walk ahead of us. And it was for 1 week, we just walked in ahead of us in these deserts of giant boulders with, I didn't know at the time, leopards, bears, beautiful peacocks, wild peacocks and everything. And we arrived, I don't know how we found it, guided probably by spirits. We found an ancient prehistorical man settlement in a circus of stones, of boulders with a flat ground and with a few caves distributed like this and with paintings. I mean, later on, we met the Maharaja of the area that told us that, yes, they are real prehistorical paintings. And it was we drank from a crack in the rocks. It was just the most amazing place. And still I had no guidance in spirituality, but I was just opening up and opening up. And
so rough experience, which taught you a lot and also allow you to immerse yourself into the culture of a different country, which is India. And they are so much diverse, and you really can learn a lot from those guys and from nature itself by just wandering around as you did.
Exactly. And we went on and off because, of visa problems and all of this. We had to leave the country. So, but for 3 years, we were on and off those caves. I got pregnant there. And then we went to Australia, in the Aboriginal land, Western Australia, to give birth to the baby. It was beautiful also there.
You mentioned that in Australia you spent time, or where you spent time, there were 4,000-year-old baobab trees. How was your interaction with that wonder of nature?
Oh, just being in awe, really, being in awe. And that's how my baby started to grow up. No plastic toys, a mosquito net under the baobab trees. And the baby would be laying down, just looking at the leaves moving. I think it was a good start for her.
Yes. So now Peru. How many times did you go there for your ayahuasca ceremonies?
Actually, I went to Ecuador 30 years ago for the first time, but I went to visit the animals and I had 1 spoon of ayahuasca that did nothing. But this time I went twice recently. So I went 3 years ago for 7 weeks, and I was about 2 weeks with ayahuasca ceremonies. And recently, then I was asking everybody, have you met a great shaman? And 7 people recommend me to the same person. We have the same name, Estella, Maestra Estella. And since that, she had opened her own center. So that's where I went last year for 1 month. And that's where I was on my way just now for 6 months to be a volunteer and hopefully become a healer myself.
So you would like to go through the training, shamanic training, and do the healing for others.
Yes, I don't know if it is what I'm supposed to become, but I'm totally willing to give it a try. And also, when I came back from Peru 3 years ago, I got to know about shamanic classes online. So since I took quite a few of those classes. That helped me because I don't have much discipline. So at least I know I have to do this class that week, and I'm doing it more. So I have to work on my discipline, yes.
So did the shamanic course help?
Yes, oh, for sure. Now I have much more knowledge, and now it's not the spirit that make me work, but it's me who call the spirit and make them work. When we work together, for sure.
What type of healing did Mother Ayahuasca perform on you while you were in Peru? If you can share with us.
It was more a healing about believing, because it was and knowing more my power. I don't think I had too much physical healings. I don't think so. Maybe it happened, but I was not aware of it. But it was like, you know, ayahuasca took all my past visions and like stamped them. Yes, it's true. Yes, it's true. Yes, it's true. And then showing me this world. And then, you know, shamanism is a great tool that is used by different type of people. So you have, you know, the loving shamans and the shamans that are full of ego and just want power. So in everywhere, not only in the Amazon, you have a lot of shamans that do attack people spiritually, sending darts. And ayahuasca made me see that. So already on my at my 5th ceremony, I think, I could see the attacks coming on us. I could hear everybody was like, oh, doing like this in the dark. We're all in the dark. And then I could see a dart coming at me, and I said, stop, just before it touched my skin. It was like, wow. Then I saw 2 hands grabbing my kidneys, like, come back right here. And then I was like, wow. And I was like, wow, we need protection here. And then just instinctively, I just like grew light in my heart, and I was like, okay, make the light. I am the daughter of God. I am the light. I am light. And then I would hear somebody, and so the light would go. I would hear somebody, and my focus would go. So whoop, it would go back. So then I managed to finally really concentrate and focus, because it's very important in healing is the focus. And then I managed to grow this light to make a bubble that was going all around the maloka, the ceremonial house. And I sealed, it was like a glass thing, and I like sealed it. And I was like, okay, now we are safe. We can all have our nice visions. And then I listen around, and no more winding and stuff. I was like, all right, it works. Wow.
Yes, I had a similar experience during one of my ceremonies, and even if I knew that I had to, you know, surrender and accept, I fought back. And same as you said, I was holding on to God and white light, trying to defend myself, because I wasn't sure exactly what's going on. So only on my next ceremony, I was able to, you know, show the love, embrace the fear, embrace the dark, because I was explained by the shaman later on that we all have both positive and negative, and we have the white and the dark inside us. So we have to embrace the darkness and show it love, and the darkness will stop bothering us, will kind of skip on, will skip us, will go somewhere else. We'll see that and we'll acknowledge that we are not fearful anymore. So that's part of the, you know, healing and experiential process with Mother Ayahuasca.
Yeah, I was just reading The Way of the Shaman from Michael Harner. He explains that the Jivaro from Ecuador, he had his shamanic training there, and they gave him pure datura to drink, and they sculpted a balsa wood, and they say, when you will see the demons, you don't get feared. You take the pole and you attack them with it. That's how you will survive. And that's what he did. And poof, the demon went, and then he had passed his shamanic test. But I remember, like, it also depends on what we eat. That's why we need to have a very clean body, at least, in order to clear the mind easier. Because before one of the ceremony, I went to have a mixed ceviche. Oh my God, I had 2 hours in hell, you know. At the end, I was even calling my mother, Mommy, please do something. I cannot anymore.
Yes, that is very...
But then once this is gone, then the light comes. Mm-hmm.
Yes, we really have to watch our diet before these ceremonies. Even, you know, the intake has to be lower before the ceremony, because otherwise you'll purge a lot and you don't want to spoil your experience.
Yeah.
How about your Atlantic Ocean crosses on the 72-foot sailboat? Let's talk about those. How those...
Oh, well, that was not spiritual at all, because nobody on the boat was spiritual. You know, we were all, I mean, there was two. So one was with less sailors. So people, you know, from towns and stuff like this. And actually, it was really nice. And the second one was, we were all working on boats. At the time, I was cook hostess on the boat. And there was like so much competition between people that it kind of ruined the whole thing. But the great thing that was, like, I'm really into contemplation of nature. So, like, you know, it's you have to live it to understand it, maybe, but each wave is different, each cloud is different, and it's like so amazing just to watch that. And then every time we saw a whale, I took my mask and fins and I said, "Captain, I jump." And that was really the great thing. I mean, the first time the boat was going very, very slow, like 1 knot, because they had a little problem. And so it was great, you know. But first I jumped. I thought every sailors always swim with whales, but I was wrong. When I came back on the boat, they looked at me like Jesus that walked on the water, you know. But no, everybody at least came, because I stayed 3 hours with the whale. And I mean, first when she came straight at me, I was like, "Ooh, maybe I should go back on the boat." But I didn't put the ladder, so I couldn't go back on the boat. And I was like, "Oh well, anyway, it's not an orca, it's not a killer whale, it's not a shark. She's not gonna harm me." And it was so beautiful. The eye of the whale was like the biggest motherhood feeling I ever felt. Like, wow.
Yes, I think it was an amazing experience. I never done that, so
yeah. The second time the boat was going 4 knots an hour, so there was 7 pilot whales, and when I jumped, I saw the boat becoming smaller and smaller at the horizon, and I was alone in the ocean. And I got a little bit scared, and the pilot whales, they were like doing like a show to the boat, you know, jumping like dolphins. I mean, the boat, you know, made a big circle to come back slowly to me, but I was like looking everywhere for, you know, a giant shark, jellyfish, squid, or like ah. And then when the boat was a bit closer, I saw the whales that dove, and I knew they were coming to me. There is this like telepathic things with whales, very intense actually. And then they surfaced around me, like I had the big male right here, the big female like right here, and they were like in a line. So 2, 2, 2, 2, and 1. And I could have touched them, but you know, we don't touch strangers. Why should we touch animals that we don't know, you know? And those pilot whales from profile, it looks like they're smiling. They're very cute. And then they dove after a few minutes, and I knew they were living forever. I mean, for me. And I said, well, let me just pretend I'm living with them, because when you see them from far, they look like they're going slowly. With my giant professional fins, I did 2 kicks and I couldn't see them anymore.
I mean, I know Now, going back to your experience in Israel, what impressed you about the Torah and the Kabbalah? What were the teachings which touched you a lot?
It was the way the people was so loving to each other. Okay, when you arrive in Israel, you hear everybody shouting at each other. You're like, oh my God, are they fighting? What's happening? But no, it's just the way they talk. And even if they do have an argument, then they tap each other's back and they say, now that we had that argument, we're closer to each other, brother. And everybody is just like so giving, and Shabbats and weddings and all the holidays are so beautiful that just like wow. And I cannot explain why but then when we lived in that in the occupied territories in a farm, and there was two young new religious, so it's like the flower of the religion. It's all the beauty of the religion, because you know they didn't grow up for some time. You know, it's full of laws, so if you're too much into it, like any religion, unfortunately it kind of restrains you, and maybe you can go into frustrations and all of these things that leads to non very loving ways. But those new religious, you know, they didn't grow up like that, so they just see really all the beauty of the religion. And so I was studying with them. They would go to their rabbi, and then I'd study with them. It was really so beautiful.
So, do you think that if we all go back to the concept of a loving God and one source, and that God is in every single one of us, and if I offend you, and if I hurt you, I hurt God and I hurt myself, do you think that the world would be in much better shape?
For sure, compassion is the secret of all, even of longevity, they're finding now, actually. So, you know, you live happy, older, and everything.
So because you live there, what do you think, and again, I don't want to get politically here, but what do you think constrain the people in that area to love each other? I mean, Palestinians and Jewish people, to find some common ground. I mean, because the land is no one's land. I mean, okay, they cannot take it to them with them when they live this life.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think it's so much fighting for a piece of land instead of looking at a love and compassion partnership?
I can't really explain it, but it started long time ago. It's just something that repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats. And I can't really explain it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I have my own opinions on that, but I won't get into that here because it's
yeah.
not.
Yeah.
What are your next plans? I know you're supposed to go to Peru, but because of the outbreak, you are put right now. You have to stay put.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I
wish I actually the spirits in my spontaneous visions with the drummings and with the medicinal plants, they are telling me now since 3 years that I should live here, Anguilla. They have named me the light keeper of the island, so I was ready to live here all my life. But then they said, no, your work is done here. Now you need to go to Kauai. I was like, okay. And they said that actually, as the visions came more and more, I had more instructions. So they said that I should open some kind of orphanage and raise the children in their Hawaiian traditions. And then slowly they would grow, and slowly it would become an ancient Hawaiian community. So I don't know, it's a big job, but you know, if it's what I'm supposed to do, I am in service to humanity and to the light. Mm-hmm.
It's not only a big job, but it's a very honorific job. It's a lot of honor put in you and faith put in you to deliver this amazing task.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, why me? You know, we always ask, why me? What did I do? But for good things and bad things, for both, you know. I am at a stage of my incarnations where I want to clear all the past between all my incarnations. So I am doing a work to really become one with the light. So that might be why, you know, one of the reasons.
During your worldwide trips, Australia, India, Hawaii, Peru, and other places in South America, did you find that the indigenous people knowledge is getting destroyed or is in danger of perishing along with generations of um, indigenous people?
I think
Mhm.
in many places they are healing and they are starting to recover in most of the places, but there are still places where we still kill the indigenous, like in some like in Andaman and Nicobars and other places. They are still, I mean, we see even in the Amazon, I mean, poachers and industry are killing the people too, but it is coming back. It is coming back. The modern way, okay, we learned a lot, but we're destroying our own habitat, so that cannot last.
Yes, we are encroaching on their habitat and becomes smaller and smaller, and they kind of lose their way of living, ancient way of living, unfortunately.
Yeah.
For someone who would like to, step on the spiritual path, find their life purpose, would you recommend, something in particular, like starting an online course which will take them into the shamanic path, or something about, Kundalini, or just meditating? What would you recommend?
Well, I would say for someone that has absolutely no practice yet, that, you know, some people, many people, they don't know this. You tell them meditate, they're like, oh, I don't know. And I think first I would say look at nature. Look, sit down in nature, smell, touch, close your eyes, just breathe. Breathing exercises are very powerful. You can get like from India, you have a lot of great breathing exercises, and that already start to change everything in your system. And you know, just sit down, look at your thoughts passing by. Don't think, just look at them passing by, and then slowly you start to meditate. And if you feel that you can go into shamanism, there are many ways to go after, but first, like, know that you know nothing, let go of everything, and just look at this beautiful nature, and then know that what you think is a mirror of the outside world. I mean, you mirror, now it's kind of proven that what we think create this world. So then it's like, okay, if nature is so beautiful, maybe I am also so beautiful, you know. So, and then slowly like this, you will be led to whatever will be your practice.
And so we can start by meditating and contemplating nature, because nature is, God's creation, and we are part of nature as well. We are one, as I said before. And I can vouch the fact that the moment our consciousness is enhanced through, psychedelics or, plant medicine, we look at nature from a very different angle. We can see the leaves talking to us. We can see the trees sending their love, and it's a much more enhanced and vivid environment, sensorial environment for everyone. But again, we have to have that vibrational level in order to understand and sense them and see them. Either it's a tree or a rock or the ground we are walking on.
Yeah, and we can talk to them. First, we will not hear the answer back, but if we just relax, we know nothing, send our love to the plant, the animal, the rock, and start to just like say what we have in our mind, you know, just empty the mind into that rock, you know, and then say thank you for liberating me, helping me, thank you, I love you, and then come back every day, and you will see something will happen after some time.
Also, during your spiritual experience, you encountered the Brahmanic healing technique and the Arhatic yoga. Are you still including these two into your daily practice?
No, it is doing this that made me very sick. And I had no help from the master teachers, so I not into them anymore.
Okay, but any other breathing exercise will help, and I know I include breathing into my daily practice, and people can find a lot of resources on the internet, on YouTube. There are various teachers who are modern or old, Western and Eastern, who are recommending a lot of exercises.
And also when I was in India, you always hear about these great gurus that live in caves in the Himalayas with barely any clothes, do not eat, or hardly eat, hardly breathe, and they are 500 years old. You hear all of these stories, and then I heard about Jess Mohin, which is from Australia, and I think she had a cancer like 25 years ago, something like that. And as she was a meditator, she heard that she has to become a breatharian, which is what those yogis do. You feed from the prana, we say the air, from the prana, the chi, the ki. Love is another synonym of prana, which is like, because before everything is getting formed on earth, it starts in the spiritual realm. So if you feed 5 minutes a day from the prana, then you feed from the building blocks of the vegetables and the food you would have eat. So, and she says you don't have to do it 100%, you can do it 50%. So what I did is I stopped to eat meat, and I ate half the quantity of food of what I was eating for 9 months, and I breathe love 5 minutes a day. And in the first week of doing this, I took all my life traumas, I faced them, and I threw them in the garbage. Finish. So it's also a really good thing. And nowadays, we don't know where we're going, so it's also a very good survival skill.
Definitely. And I know she is the proponent of, don't eat for 4 straight days, no food, no water. And then something at your body's molecular level will change. And after that, you can start drinking water. And you have to go through this process for 21 days. Yes, you will lose weight, but in the end, you won't need food. Your body is so much changed that it won't need food. Just, again, water and sun. And there are people out there who went through her process in Germany, US, France, and they were successful, and they were even studied at the hospital. And the end of the doctors who studied these people didn't want to publish their results because they were true.
Yeah, she's still doing this, and I've seen, I don't follow her a lot, but I've seen a few years ago that she's also doing dark room retreats. You're in a total darkness for a week, and that's also something apparently.
Wow, you lose your your coordinates, your GPS for sure, because this is what they are doing in prisons. The Guantanamo and in other places, they were trying to destroy the internal GPS of people, the inmates, by putting them under stressors, light, music, or darkness. So this is maybe one of the options of healing ourselves.
But just the Vipassana, like we were talking yesterday, the Vipassana, you don't talk for 1 week and no other distraction, just sitting there, and you also go through all your traumas and leave everything you don't need and become new at the end. It's really amazing, all these things. So we are so not what we believe we are.
Exactly. And that tells me that we have to take some drastic measures in order to change ourselves. So it's short pain for long-term gain. Either is, giving up water and food in order for our bodies to readjust, or stay in silence for 10 days, or stay in darkness for 7 days. We need that kind of shock therapy for our bodies to, and our soul and mind to understand who we really are and have that amazing shift to become a better person.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do. If we're good, we can still be better. You know, now people tell me, you know, with this virus, we're all in isolation. People tell me, yeah, look at what they do. I say, stop to look at what they do. See yourself. Oh, but I always help people. My heart is good, and always they hurt me back. I said, no. Are you a saint already? No. So you can be better. So look inside of yourself and better yourself. All of us. That's what is, I think, required right now.
Yes. Your book on Amazon, The Mermaid Chef?
Right now it's not. I have to republish it. I mean, it is for like, I don't know, I remember $8,000, like, because it's not being published still. So a few people just put it for so much money, but wait until I republish it.
Okay, we'll do that.
I will give you the link once I do it. Before we close, I'd like to send a little sound in the air, if you like.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can all close our eyes and go inside of ourselves. Imagine like a beautiful garden that you can fill with beautiful flowers, with hearts, with crystals, with a beautiful show of light, happiness. Imagination is our great ally. So let's all use it, and let's all travel within. And from within, we can go in all the galaxies and in all the worlds. And let's wish each other light, peace, love, joy.
Thank you, Estelle. Thank you very much for your gift.
You are most welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Estelle. You've been a great guest. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. And until next time, love and gratitude.
Love and gratitude. Thank you so much, Claudiu. And I wish you full happiness and to become a better human being like all of us.
Thank you, Estelle.
Bye.